After 200 plus keys and only 88 timed keys, I have successfully pugged my way through WoW's most challenging season on a spec and roll I have never played before. And the crazy thing is, this put me in the top 3 blood DKs on Bleeding Hollow and actually landed me in the top 250 in North America. The payoff of playing an off-meta spec. Usually in this series, I would highlight the conclusion of my journey, including all of my blunders and 2 IQ pugs I ended up in groups with. But today, we are going to do something a little bit different and talk about how can Blizzard make players better at Mythic Plus. The thing I realized is, WoW sucks at giving new players and longtime players clear and easy to understand information. Sure, we have add-ons that can display a ton of info, but new players or veteran players shouldn't always be required to install an add-on to get better at the game. And probably like many others this season, because it got kind of frustrating and towards the end just really started dragging out trying to hit 3K, I started playing some other games and dabbled a bit more into games like Marvel Rivals with my girlfriend. Now, hero shooters were a completely new genre to her, and of course, she picked Venom, a tank, which of course aligns really well with this video. And while trying to teach her how to play a tank and what her role was for the team, I realized something. At the end of every match, there was a clear indicator on how she performed and where she needed improvement. As a tank, did she block a lot of damage? How much damage did she do? This information gave a much clearer representation of how she performed compared to other tanks in the lobby, which sparked an idea. A Mythic Plus scoreboard would drastically help new players and longtime players better learn how they performed by comparing themselves to their fellow key slammers and the top runs at that key level, all within the game. No add-ons required. Now, all you sweats are probably like, Details does all of this, bro, lol. Although that is true, here's the thing. We all know these low interrupt Andes aren't looking at interrupts and details post-run or after they brick the key. Trust me, I've had these conversations with plenty of people. Also, Battlegrounds have had scoreboards for ages with very simple information telling me, hey, you did trash damage that game and died a ton, and also didn't play the objective much, which helps people again better understand where they can improve. With that, here's my vision. Your key finishes, bam, MVP screen. Don't ask me how that's calculated fairly, I'm not a mathematician. And honestly, this is such a dope idea, even with my crappy mock-up, that yes, Blizzard, I would pay real dollars for this. Now, after that stereotypical MVP screen, you get a scoreboard, and all the data you see in this is a mock-up that I made, and is from an actual run of mine. And the idea behind this is to encourage players to use their 2 brain cells to analyze and identify things other players are doing so they can improve their gameplay. This isn't all about the damage and healing sections, because yes, most players probably have that open in details by default. This is about interrupts and avoidable damage and a few other ideas I'm going to throw out that aren't in this mock-up because I didn't want to do Photoshop that much, okay? I'm sorry, I got lazy. You can see in this run, interrupts were pretty solid, but as a DPS, I look at this and go, God damn, I was outkicked by the healer. And if I was a hunter, I'd think my kicks are just a little low. Not bad, but a little low. But now imagine a world where 2 DPS have no kicks and they see the amount the other DPS, the tank, and the healer have. This should trigger a brain cell to go, maybe I should kick and practice that. And even if they're not kicking all the right things, at least they're starting to realize they need to kick more because the better players are doing that. Then imagine, again, I didn't mock this up, I got a little lazy, but when they hover over interrupts, it shows what abilities they kick and which mob cast it. Further teaching these players what are people kicking and why. Maybe they notice, hey, a web bolt was kicked a ton of times. That wasn't something people really kicked when I was in a level 6 key, but now on a level 12 key, they're kicking that a ton alongside the volley. So maybe I should kick that more because maybe that's what's killing me or my party members. Then with that idea, the avoidable damage. Picture, when you have that number, it tells you the damage sources you took this damage from. Now this rogue hovers over that avoidable damage and sees, oh snap, I stood in the fire a bunch, or didn't dodge that ability. All simple ways giving players information on how to better improve their gameplay as they climb the ladder. But let's take it a step further. What if on another page, there's a cooldown section to see how often individuals use their defensive cooldowns and offensive cooldowns? just displaying that people are hitting these buttons and how much and how often, just to provide some level of information, because a player could literally never use any defensives, always be healed, and then at high key levels still get carried, never use a defensive, and then see, oh damn, the other people at this key level are using defensives all the time. They've literally used a dozen and I used none. Maybe that's why I died a bunch and the healer couldn't keep me alive. Ways to, again, trigger a simple thought process to improve their gameplay. And of course, with this idea, it's because of the ABCs, baby. 1, 2, 3. Simple as do, re, mi, blizzard at a scoreboard. Now, there could even be an additional tab for average overall stats for your class and spec based on the top 25 runs for that key level, giving you a direct comparison of your performance and areas to improve for specifically your spec. Then lastly, to drive and encourage people to play together, just have 2 simple options at the bottom. Run more or leave the instance. Just a simple way to allow people to signal to one another, I want to play more, I enjoyed it with this group, are you down? It's a great way to drive the community interaction a little bit without forcing people into talking to each other and being the Akko Taco saying, anybody want to run some more? And as Blizzard delves deeper into making Mythic Plus better, I strongly believe this is a simple, low-hanging fruit to help guide players in a direction to become better, making the PUG scene even less infuriating. Because Mythic Plus has really turned out to be the PvE competitive mode of WoW, and it should be treated that way. Of course, there is a casual aspect to it as well, but why not really solidify that it's a game mode with the scoreboard system like this? Basically, every other game that has a game mode has a scoreboard system like this, including freaking Battlegrounds. Let me know what stats you think would be beneficial to teach players and guide them down the right path, especially for tanks and healers. I didn't have much creative juices flowing during this, so I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below, especially about the system and if you think this would eventually help make the player base better. And with Season 2, you know we'll be running this challenge back for a 4th time, and of course making new spec guides so that you can improve your gameplay. So make sure to punch that like button, kiss that subscribe button, and tickle my bells to stay up to date with all the content released on the channel. And with that, I'll see you all in the Undermines.